Okay, so this video we're going to look at another interactive object that's activated when you touch the object with the laser beam. This time we're going to have how we manipulate the sound. Now to do this you need to make sure, I'll just show you, I've imported a sound. We'll play that back.
Welcome to the gallery.
Okay, so that's just a bit of audio that I recorded and then I imported it in. Remember to import WAV files at 16-bit. Okay. And then I've literally dragged that into the scene and I've created a ambient sound actor. But this is important. When you put that in, obviously I've renamed it. And if we scroll down, make sure that auto activation is turned off. It's turned on by default, and if you didn't turn it off, the sound would play as soon as the level started. But we don't want that. We want to play it when we want to play it. Okay, so back to the level blueprint. Okay. So inside the level blueprint, we did this in the previous video. We've got this new cube and the VR pawn is testing the hit, and it changes its material depending on whether it's been hit or not hit. So we can actually carry this on, and obviously you need to put the reference for the new cube 2. So that's called new cube 2, and you can have as many cubes as you want, but we're just doing 2 for now. And this just checks whether new cube has been hit or is the hit target from the VR pawn, the laser. And same again, it does a material change if you want a material change. So if we move along, if it's true, we set the material, and then from there we need to have a do once, because what we don't want is we don't want the sound to repeat constantly. Okay, so make sure that you put a do once in. To put a do once node in, right click, just type in do once, and you'll feel it in the flow control. What that means is when it fires, it then effectively, once it plays, it blocks this from starting, unless it's reset, which we're going to look at in a minute. The next thing is we make a reference to the audio file. So that's easy. That's in the level. So obviously we do that by selecting the audio and then we make a reference to it. And then we want to get the audio component. I'll just type in audio component. There we go. And then we pump that into play. Obviously that will play the audio component. Okay. We also need to make sure that we've got a reset audio variable in there, because what that does is we only want the sound to replay when we move the laser off the object. So once you've created that, and obviously by default that's a Boolean, I've called it reset audio, and by default it's false. So just make sure that that's not ticked and compile and save. Okay. Okay, and we want to delay. Now what the delay will do is it will wait until the sound is played. Now we need to know how long the sound is. So if we drag from the component and we get the audio, we get the sound. And we get the duration of that sound. Okay. So if you drag out from sound and just type in duration. Oops. You can see it gets the sound, and we pump that into the delay, and then finally we do a reset audio, and we set that to true. And you're thinking, well, what does this do? Well, what that does is it only resets the sound when we are not hitting the object with the laser, so that gives the ability to restart the sound again. So if I just go through that like I did before, is for the whole setup, we've got an event tick at the beginning, we've got the first cube, and very important, the VR porn reference. We reference the hit actor inside there, and that reads that information and it checks whether that new cube is like that. If it is, a branch, and it'll change its material. And in the second cube, which is new cube 2, we do the same thing really. We're checking the materials, and then if we are hovering over it, we can play the sound, and we just make sure the reset audio is false, and there's a delay depending on how long the sound is. Yep. I've just realized I didn't tell you to create a variable for the sound, so to do that I'll just show how to do that. So instead here, drop that down, and the object type is sound actor audio. It's audio component, if I can remember where it is. So let's just go back. It's a sound-based material. Yep. So if we just treat that sound object sound, there we go, and just make sure you go object reference. There we go. And obviously I've renamed that sound, and then if you compile that, you can pick whatever sound you want, and then from there we can read the target. We can read the duration of that sound. Okay. All right. So we compile and save that. Just going back to make sure you've got a branch underneath the do once underneath here next to the set material. So this is the material that changes to a different color when we're not hovering over it, and then we go through a new branch and it checks if reset is true. If it is, it'll then reset the do once, so we can go through that again. Okay, it's a little bit more complex this, but if you just go through the video and look at how the nodes are connected together. Okay. So what you can do now is, armed with this, you can create a good example would be to maybe have an image from your development, and maybe showing how that development has changed by you going over the object and then moving the laser off it, and that will change. You could also, with the audio, you could maybe do a recording of you talking about how you developed an object, and the box or the image which is on the box could trigger you talking about how you develop something by using this technique. Okay, that concludes session 5.